So today I want to check in and give you guys a heads up on NestDrop and give you an idea of how I use it within my live performances and how I mix it with Resolume. So NestDrop is basically a branch off of MilkDrop, if you've heard of that back in the day. It does 4K, 60 frames per second. It's one of the best I've seen at dome projections. So if you ever have an opportunity to do dome projections, this is a solid way to do it. They have a few different editions here, so let's go ahead and take a peek at those so you'll have an idea of what you're looking at. It looks like the classic is only $1, which is insane. I have the Midnight Edition, which is $50, and then they just recently came out with the Midnight Pro for $75. So whichever price point you're working with, I would highly recommend to pick this up, especially at $1. I mean, you got nothing to lose. All of them come with at least 1,900 presets, but I know with mine, and I'm pretty sure it's a free download for any of them, but you get an email that offers you a extra download that gives you 10,000 extra presets. So then you're looking around at least 1,200 different scenes, audio reactive presets that you can do. And I mean, at that point, you're guaranteed to find some really cool stuff in there that is going to resonate with you at some point. So if you can't tell, you know, having over 10,000 scenes, there is going to be some sifting through to find the diamonds in the rough, but I would highly recommend taking the time to do this. And it's really fun to find scenes that are really cool, but also different ways to integrate them with your performances. So go ahead and download NestDrop, whichever one of these is speaking to you here, and from that point you are going to be looking at, this is the interface here, and these are all different scenes. They're all different audio reactive scenes that you can do. There's a little number that pops up once you play them. So I played this one 4 times, and this one once, this one once, so you can start to see how the numbers move once you play them. That way it gives you an idea, and you kind of keep track of as you're sifting through here if you've already looked at it or not. So you know, you got your settings up here, your transition time, you can move that up if you don't want the scenes to jolt real quick from one to the other. Your frame rate, obviously, you know, 60 frames per second is the cap on it, which is really cool. There's a few different things in here you can go over. I mean, you could even do a direct output with this. So how you are going to send NestDrop to Resolume is through Spout. And so open up your Resolume. Real quick before we move on with this tutorial, I want to give a brief heads up on our full NestDrop course in our school classroom that has exclusive content, including advanced mixing techniques with a detailed breakdown of my workflow to level up your content. Let's get back to the tutorial. Go to Output and make sure that texture sharing Spout is on. And then you will also, let me move that over. Go over here to Sources. And you're going to, when it first pull it up, it'll look like this. And then take it all the way to the down here. And you'll find Spout servers. Grab NestDrop and set it in here. So depending on how you're going to use NestDrop is depending on what layer you're going to put it on. The first example I'm going to give you is the bottom layer. And how I like to use NestDrop, and one of the main ways, is I constantly have a clip going on NestDrop. I just don't have it inserted where it's an output. And the reason for that is because NestDrop is not resource intensive at all. It's very easy on your computer, so it's a nice software to have running in the background that's not going to make you lose frame rates or anything like that, have any skipping or freezing. So what I do is I will have NestDrop playing, and let's say that I'm playing a visual and the DJ he starts a different song, and we've all been there if you've VJ'd enough where you don't have something ready, but you also don't want to leave the same visual up because he's transitioning. You would like to keep on the same pace, and also maybe you feel like your visual is getting stagnant, or it's getting stale from just looping so many times. So what you can do is I have NestDrop mapped to a MIDI map button. So I just press one button and boom, it's up, and then I can fade out, and there it is. So I'm going to turn on some music so you can see the audio reactivity to it, which really sets NestDrop apart from a lot of different softwares. So having some audio reactivity like that really helps the cohesiveness of the music, makes it look real clean. And the cool thing is you're always going to have something running. So, you know, I've mentioned it before, but I think it's worth mentioning again that sometimes your software will freeze, Resolume will freeze, but your MIDI board will still be working. So what that means is, even though your screen may be frozen, you can't scroll or you can't choose anything, if you have NestDrop mapped, you can just press the button and it's going to pull up NestDrop and something will be in your output from that point. I mean, it works 9 out of 10 times for me. If something freezes, I can just throw up NestDrop real quick, and I have an audio reactive software. I have audio reactive scenes that are just waiting and they're ready to go. So it's very fitting in almost any circumstance where you need something to save your butt like that. Would highly recommend it. And the other way that I really like to use NestDrop is as a mask. So I'm gonna use the same scene and I'm gonna show you. And this is a scene that I'll eventually be dropping in some of my favorite like masking scenes out of NestDrop. But just to give you another example here, let's go ahead and switch this up a little bit. Let's say, let's kick that out too. So I'm gonna throw up this guy, and alright, so let's say that the beat drops and I need some audio reactive stuff. So what I'm gonna do is boom, there we go. I have NestDrop at the very top of all my scenes now. If you notice, it's all the way up here, it's above everything. And what that allows me to do is to put this on a blend mode of 50 mask, and it makes NestDrop an audio reactive mask. It gives you some really insanely cool looking stuff, especially when you start stacking other effects with that. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to keep it simple, and these are the main two ways that I use it. So another tip on that is I would highly recommend putting NestDrop, the opacity, the mask opacity, have it on a slider or have it mapped out somehow on your mini map. So if you can see over there on layer 12, the opacity is moving up and down. That's because I'm moving a slider right now on my MIDI board. So I can take off the mask and then I can throw it back on. And I mean, you can do some really cool stuff with this, where it's like you can turn it on and off really fast, add it with different effects. You know, feedback on some of these looks really, really cool. And so let's see, masks. And once you have scenes that you really like, you can pin it to the top, so that way it always stays at the top. Now, whenever I want to go choose a different scene, I want to choose a different scene in Resolume, I can do that, and this still stays on top. It's not going to get thrown to the back. So make sure you pin at least one of your favorites on top. I usually have my mask on top. And here's another mask that I really like. I'm going to turn up the music a little bit, make sure you guys can hear it. So yeah, you can get some really cool looks just with doing masking, not to mention all the scenes that you can throw on a bottom layer. So, you know, if you do have like a vignette or something like that over your scene, you'll have cool background to go with it. So, a couple more examples here. I love the cleanness of the look with the audio reactivity. It keeps you from having to throw a bunch of different effects on there to try and make it cohesive with the music, which sometimes, especially I've noticed, the more nervous I am in a set, I can overdo it with effects. The audio reactivity, I just throw it on and I know that it's smooth, it's on point and it's going to be clean looking. So I'm definitely going to be doing more dives into NestDrop, but here is how you start your own little box. And you know, you can pin this like I was saying, and then grab scenes that you like and throw them in there, and then you save it for later, and next time you pull up NestDrop, you just load up this right here. You load up whatever you save it at. Mine is Rex New 7, so you can just load that up and you'll have all the scenes that you saved, and you'll be ready to go for your set coming up. I am going to be going deeper into NestDrop. I feel like this is just a very basic rundown to give you guys an idea of what it does, and also a couple different ways to use it with your live set. So I'll be back with more information. I hope this helps. If you guys have anything you want to see specifically covered in NestDrop, feel free to reach out to me or just make a post. And yeah, we'll talk soon. Thanks, guys.